Have you ever noticed that the more you scroll on your phone, the worse you feel? Like hours go by, now your energy is drained, your mind feels foggy. Maybe you feel a little bit numb, but overall, it just leads to this feeling of you not even feeling like yourself anymore. I lived in that cycle for years and I wasn't able to break out of it until I started creating. So, in this video, we're going to talk about some damaging effects of overconsuming technology, some benefits of creating, and finding a happy balance between the two. So if you feel like this is something you might need, then stay tuned because there's some goodies in this video, okay? And also, if you're feeling like you want to start creating but you have no idea where to begin, click the link in the description and get my free creative healing starter pack. It's 5 printable journaling prompts and 5 coloring pages, kind of go hand in hand. And coloring is a great way to open your creativity, especially if you don't know where to begin, like you don't really do anything that's creative. Great place to start. That's where I started, was with coloring, and it might sound silly or like you're a little kid, but it's so much fun. And the journaling prompts are a great way to get some of those thoughts and emotions out of your head and onto a piece of paper. So click the link below, get that free starter pack, and let's get on to the video. So, damaging effects of overconsuming technology. There are so many, and I did not list all of them in this video, but some physical effects that you can feel: brain fog, blurred vision, eye strain, headaches, and sleep deprivation. I can almost guarantee you that most of us have definitely had sleep deprivation, stayed up too late on the phone the night before, couldn't get off, just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then the next morning you wake up and your brain's all foggy. You're probably a little irritable because you didn't get enough sleep. So, yeah, those are some physical effects that you might feel. Mental health effects: anxiety, irritability, numbness, depression, social isolation. Ah, social isolation. That's a really big one for me because I've been guilty of this as well. But how many times, do we sit in the room with our loved ones or our friends and we're not even talking to each other? We're just on our phones, eyes glued to the screen, and have no idea. It's like you're in separate worlds. Not only does it have, physical and mental health effects on you, but you get behind on your tasks. You don't get things done that need to be done because you're too busy scrolling on your phone or watching videos that really don't do anything for you, if we're being honest, And I'm not judging you. I'm just saying I've done it too. I'm here to help. And yeah, so you get behind on tasks. It kills your attention span. Oh my goodness. Since I've started doing videos, I hear this kind of frequently for content creators, when you're posting a short video, to not make it longer than 7 seconds. You know why? Because that's all our attention spans can hold anymore. So basically, if the video is longer than 7 seconds, you're not going to retain anyone's attention, which is just wild to me. I get it, but we're so addicted to seeing what's coming up next that it's just like a constant watch a couple seconds, next, watch a couple seconds, next, and we're not retaining any of it, It's just in and out, on to the next. And yeah, you miss out on time with your loved ones. I think back to some of the times where I literally would and I live away from home now, for my whole family. And how many times, like, I could have been spending quality time, which is my love language, by the way. And I miss out on all that time with them because I was on my phone looking at stuff that didn't matter, if we're being honest, and kind of bums me out. But thankfully, I put my phone away when I'm with people now. Like, if I'm with someone, the phone's not out. Like, unless I wanted to show you something funny maybe that I saw, then we're engaged in that together. But otherwise, phone is away. That time, it's precious. We don't know if they're going to be here tomorrow or if we're going to be here tomorrow. And I don't want to miss out on that quality time with the people I love because I was too wrapped up in whatever was on my phone. You know what I mean? The average time that we spend on our phones is wild, guys. It's wild. So, on average, it's about 6.5 hours worldwide that people spend on the screen, which could be a TV too, but just on a screen. For the younger generations, it's 9 hours or more, but on average, 9 hours. That's so, that's so much time. Oh my goodness. Like, how crazy is that? If we're awake, on let's say on average, like everyone's getting 8 hours of sleep, and you're awake for 16 hours and you spent 9 hours of that on your phone. Oh, some of the articles I've read, it was actually even more time than that, which is just so wild to me. But that's something to be aware of. Like, 9 hours, even 6.5 hours on your phone. Like, and most of that time, I'm just going to say, is not spent on creating anything. It's just consuming like anything and everything. And then half the time, we don't even remember what we consumed. So that's something to be aware of. Another thing, damaging effect is the comparison of others. Like when you're on your phone all the time, you're on social media, scrolling all the time, like you're seeing all these other people's lives that's probably not even really that accurate. If you know what I mean? Like you're seeing the highlight reels, and I know this isn't the first time you've heard someone say that, but still, like you're looking at this other person's life and you're thinking that, my goodness, they're just having the most wonderful experience, like no hardships, no struggles. And then you start to look at your life and think like, what is this crap? Why can't I have a life like that? When really their life isn't really like that. I'm sure they're doing the things that they're posting, but there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that you don't see. And yeah, that comparison also, just saying, leads to feelings of angst, depression, and unworthiness. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to feel any of those things. I mean, I know in life we are going to have moments where we don't feel peachy keen and wonderful. But if I can avoid the extra screen time and scrolling that leads to those feelings, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? All right. So, some of the benefits of creating, we'll talk about the mental and emotional health aspects, stress reduction and anxiety relief. And notice how when you're over consuming, it leads to anxiety and stress. When you create, it helps get rid of the anxiety and stress, you know? Improved mood and less irritability, enhanced problem solving skills, which is amazing, especially like the older you get. You want to keep that brain active. And being on your phone too much is literally doing the opposite. You are just totally draining your brain. So, creativity encourages thinking outside of the box, which helps build critical thinking skills. And these skills can be applied to other areas of your life, not just when you're creating, which is a huge benefit. The positive feeling you get after you've created something, I'm telling you, it is such a good feeling. Ugh. And it leads to a sense of accomplishment when you create something. And I don't know about you, but I want to feel that. Love a good, feeling like, when you get done doing something, especially if you created it and you just feel so good afterwards. Another benefit is the release you feel when you create something. When you're creating, you are relieving, like I already said, stress and anxiety. And it helps get rid of, like, we're also overstimulated all of the time, distractions left and right everywhere. When you're creating, you're not being distracted by anything else. You are focused. You are hardwired focused on whatever you are working on. And it eliminates a lot of that overstimulation, which is great. That's a great benefit. Another benefit, personal growth. You're able to develop new skills. It gets you out of your comfort zone. And it can create community too. So instead of like one of the damaging effects of overconsuming was social isolation, one of the benefits of creating is now you're learning new skills. You have new things to talk about. You could join another creative group with like minded people who are interested in the same things as you, or they don't even have to be interested in the same things. Maybe they're just interested in creating and learning about new things, and you can make new friends, new connections, which is what we need. We are wired for connection, guys. We are not wired to be isolated. And that's why we feel so depressed, because this society we're in now, like, we're all so drawn to the screens. Like I said earlier, we're not spending time with people like we used to before we had all of this. And it's causing a lot of depression, and it's really sad. And that's why I'm making this video, because I want less people to feel depressed and more of you guys to feel happy and creating things that make you feel proud of yourself, you know? Another benefit is it creates new neural pathways in your brain. By engaging the brain in complex processes, it strengthens existing connections, you know, in your brain and starts to build new ones, which goes back to the critical thinking skills. You know, you're developing new neural pathways, so your brain is forming new structures, and it's so good. As the older we get, guys, like, you're gonna want your brain to be sharp. Okay, just saying. When you create, you are basically getting a workout for your brain. And I don't know if you can relate, but I have had so many moments in my life where maybe my body's physically exhausted. Maybe I had a long day at work and I was running around a lot, but I go to lay down at the end of the night and my body might be tired, but my brain is not at all. And so then you're just laying there, your mind's racing. Maybe you pick up your phone, start scrolling, which doesn't help, and then you're up all night. You want to get that workout in for your brain, because it just like you would take your dog to the dog park and let them run out their energy, we need this as well. So when you physically work out your body, then you get, you get those good endorphins and feelings running through, but then you also get, you use your energy. And so when it's time to go to sleep, your body's ready for that rest. Your mind needs that too. Your mind needs to be worked out just as much as your body does. And creating is a great way to work out your mind. Creativity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it will flow effortlessly. The less you use it, the weaker it gets. Doesn't mean you can't tap back into it, but you might have to start with some smaller things to get your creativity flowing again. And so we're going to talk about now finding a happy balance. There's nothing wrong with a little entertainment, but when all you're doing is consuming entertainment and scrolling through people's social media feeds, it leads to, like I said earlier, it leads to feelings of unworthiness. And instead of spending 6 hours consuming entertainment on your phone, maybe cut that in half in the beginning. So don't do 6 hours, do 3. And then maybe be more intentional with what you are consuming. Instead of consuming just pure entertainment, try to consume some content that teaches you something. Maybe there's something creative that you're interested in, but you have no idea where to begin with it. And you're telling yourself, like, I could never do that. I have no idea how to do that. You can find videos online. And so you'll still be consuming, but at least you'll be learning something that is interesting to you. And now you're on the pathway of developing a new skill. Nothing bad can come from that. Take some of your time that you would be using to scroll. Like, if you get off of work, you go home and you just sit and scroll for the rest of the evening, go online, find some different creative ideas that you think would be fun. Or you could click the link below and get my free creative healing starter pack and start coloring and journaling. But take some of that time that you would normally be scrolling and create something. Even if it's just a coloring sheet, or I actually just did this little exercise yesterday and it was so much fun where you just draw like random lines, little swirls, time yourself 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, and then color in all those little patches. Sounds silly, but I'm telling you, that's another great exercise to open your creativity. And it's fun. It's fun. Another way that you can find a happy balance, is to create a structured time for you to consume content and for you to create content. Make a time in the day where you can literally sit down and you can create. And once you go over that time, it's over. Same thing for the consuming. Say you're doing 8 hours a day on your phone consuming content, maybe drop that down half. Maybe do 4 hours. Still a lot, but do 4 hours. Give yourself an allotted time for you to do that. And once that time's up, make that a rigid thing for yourself. Like once your time is up, no more. You got to have that discipline. Otherwise, you're never going to stick with anything. And yeah, give yourself the goal and stick to it. But be compassionate with yourself if you fall off. Don't beat yourself up. That's not going to do you any good. I have been trying to create new schedules and routines for myself. And after years of doing things a certain way, it's really hard to just you can't just be like, I don't want to do that anymore. And then you're good. You're going to still, there are habits and patterns that you've created over years of time. You can't just change that overnight. You have to rewire your brain. And so the more you focus on something, on being consistent and disciplined, and the easier it becomes. And like I said, if you fall off or you notice you're going back into those same patterns, show yourself some compassion, but get back on track. Because I don't know about you guys, but at the end of my life, when I reflect back, I want to remember creating things that I enjoyed. I want to remember spending time with my loved ones, and I want to remember that. I don't want to look back and remember a silly meme or video that I looked at, or not really remember any of it and just feel like it was all a blur because I spent so much of my time on a phone or my TV. I want to remember going out in nature, painting, spending time with the people I love. And I'm sure you could understand that. And I hope you feel the same way. And hopefully some of this has helped you. If you have any questions, comment down below. I'd love to give you some pointers, some feedback, whatever. And once again, if you're looking for a way to open up your creativity, click the link below. Get that free creative healing starter pack, Start today. If you don't have a printer and you have a local Staples, you could get it printed for super cheap. And if you don't want to do that, you don't even have to print the journaling pages. You can get a piece of paper and read my prompts and journal it on your own piece of paper. Just start doing something today, guys, okay? And until the next video, much love. I'll see you soon.